We're going to go ahead and get into the first panel, which I think is really exciting. So I would like to call up, we have Yuri Frayman, the founder and CEO of Cast AI. Woo! We have Natalia Karayaneva, CEO of Propy and founder. And we have Ana Yansy Hernandez, founder of Yansy Media. Give it up for Ana Yansy. Awesome. I'll let you guys take it away.
Hi, everyone. How are we doing today? We can do better than that. How are we doing? It's Miami Tech Week, is it not? How many events are we hitting up? 1, 2, 5, 10? Who's going to emerge? Okay, I'll see you guys all there. So this is always very exciting for me because I think you guys can probably relate to this too, that Miami Tech continues to grow. And each time I'm in a room and I see new faces, I just get even happier from it. But you guys have been building here for a while. And I'm the kind that I don't like to read intros. I'd rather you tell me a little bit about yourself and then we dive deeper. So Yuri, would you like to share with the crowd who you are and what you do?
So originally came from Ukraine with my mother and father. Studied finance, and back in the late 80s, realized that wasn't something that I enjoyed, and went back to school, learned how to code, program, and in 1989 launched my first company. 93 was acquired. 93 launched my second company. It took me 10 years to go until it was acquired. And then it just became kind of a routine. One of our companies was public, based in New York Exchange. And I went through a hostile takeover. You know, guys, what it is? Yeah, it's when you don't want to sell, right? But it was a public company, and we went through a proxy vote, and of course, the stock price was so high, the bid was really high, and everybody said yes, right? And then I went into very deep tech, right? I always was fascinated with AI. I launched my first AI company. We were 2006. 2008, we were sitting next to Jensen, telling him that we need your graphic cards so we can train our machine learning algorithms. And I keep teasing him that I gave you an idea to build a GPU, right? So that was our forte, and that was acquired by Google. And I spent a year working there, and then realized I'm not a big company individual, and went back and started 3 subsequent cybersecurity companies. All got acquired, and now I'm working on Cast. And Cast is an AI company. The purpose of Cast is to automate all of the infrastructure, right? Everybody knows you have an application, you have a public cloud, or you have a on-prem installation, and you need humans to manage that, right? And we create efficiency and automation. We create reliability and stability and performance. That's the key. We started the company in 2020. It took us 3.5 years to build the stack, the longest run. I mean, you know, we hit so many walls that required a lot of rethinking. But in 23, we went to the market, and we raised, I think, over 200 million to date. We have fantastic partners. Who of partners, and we are growing about 3.5x year over year.
Oh, congrats. Thank you for that. Natalia, what brought you to Miami, and tell us how you started Propy?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, we probably will become a customer of Cast AI. Seems like we need a solution. We're also our clients of local Miami-based Roam, of Flex, QuickNote. I love meeting founders at events like this, and then, yeah, we become partners. So I was born and raised in Eastern Europe, and I grew up in a very small nuclear power plant town surrounded by engineers, and then became a software engineer myself. myself. Then I moved to Bulgaria and became a real estate developer. Well, my first company was social media for real identities before Facebook came to the region, but I didn't know how to monetize on this opportunity, so I became a real estate developer. For 15 years, I've been building homes to mostly for investors. And then I thought I need to marry both passions, real estate and software. So I moved to Silicon Valley, to Palo Alto, and launched Propy. So what Propy is doing is automation of real estate transactions. We aim to become a transactional marketplace like Zillow, but global, where the new generation can buy a property with a couple of clicks, for example, in Italy. We just discussed that. But for now, we're just focusing on the US. We're backed by Tim Draper, really started building the platform in Silicon Valley, so we've been building it for 4 or 5 years. It was more of a survival mode, so we'll discuss that in a bit. But about 4 years ago, everything shifted. We moved to Miami. Florida was an incredible market for real estate. We acquired our first title and escrow company, became a licensed title and escrow company. And now, without even realizing, we're at this very, very hype moment of the tech industry. We are running a roll-up, AI-led roll-up. We just raised $100 million to execute on it. So we'll cover more of this journey in a bit. But yeah, I'm very excited to be part of the Miami community.
Awesome, thank you for sharing. Just really quickly, my name is Ana Yansy. I am founder of Yansy Media, also contributing writer for Refresh Miami. But Natalia, I want to go back and share a little bit, because you're tackling traditional real estate, and that is not something that people can easily change their mind about. What was the biggest struggle, whether it was adoption for what you were building? How did people trust what you were building, and how did you get them to adopt the product?
You're right, it was quite a struggle, and being too early in blockchain first, and then being too early in AI did not serve us any benefit. It was very hard to convince clients. Meanwhile, of course, you're running a company with very limited resources, so your product kind of sucks, but you have to build and sell in parallel. It was very hard, but we were great in building PR momentum. So even though we were too early to blockchain, we were always covered by the best media. TechCrunch, recently Bloomberg, before that Wall Street Journal, and it was really driven by the founders to get the outlets to write about you, and then some of the VCs will reach out to us as a credibility point. But the hardest part was really being too early and keep building in the conviction that these technologies are very important and critical for real estate transaction automation. I always believed in the opposite thesis of most VCs, which is we're not building a painkiller. For some people, it feels like a vitamin. However, the best technologists, such as Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, they never built what clients wanted. They built for the future. They invented, they saw how the future will evolve, and they just built for what clients will want in the future. So with that notion, we've been just investing in what we believe will be the future of real estate. And today, finally, we're having all those clients utilizing our AI that opens transactions 24/7 on the weekends, in the evening. They do payments through our online deposit links, and a lot of things that have been automated by AI.
Awesome, thank you. Go ahead. So Yuri, I'm not going to ask you the same question. My question for you is, you said you took about 3 years to build a platform. What was the challenge once you got it done?
Well, the idea came is that when I was sitting with my co-founder in a previous company, and I was watching our AWS bill multiplying, and I had to go in front of the board every quarter and explain why this is keep rising, and the number of customers didn't really help, right? Because there was still, oh my God. Right? And when you have a very eloquent CTO that can weaponize English language, it will give you the reasons why this bill is accurate. But so I said to him once, I wish I had a robot that could just listen to me and do what I ask him to do and not argue, right? And that's the idea. So when our company was acquired by Oracle, and suddenly we became free agent because there was a rift between Larry and TK, and so anyone who came on the TK side became free agents. I said, let's go build Cast. So the reason why it became very difficult is because when you're dealing with infrastructure, you're dealing with humans. Humans can do wonderful things when they're designing infrastructure. You can expect certain things. So there's 1,000,001 edge case. So how do you solve 1,000,001 edge case? Because if you don't solve it, what happens? You come to the account, you get stuck there for 3 months until you reverse all of the bad things that was done to the infrastructure. Nobody does it exactly by the book. So that was the main obstacle. Took us 3.5 years to be able to observe all of the unique cases. So we had to train the model, right? Back then, train a model. It was our model. Now we use other models as well. So we have to train our model to be able to think like a DevSecOps engineer. So we have to continuously teach it, right? And still we found, why would you do that, right? Well, humans.
So I guess for both of you, when you're thinking about zero to scaling, you kind of took different routes for scaling. Natalia mentioned a lot that she relied on PR for people to trust her product and understand and build. And it sounds like you definitely went more on the technical side where you created a stronger product overall, or train a better model, I should say. At what moment did things start to unlock for you guys? Did you ever get to that point where you started to realize, like, I hit the nail, or this is going to be very successful, or I found my audience?
Well, I think I had those false moments of, okay, I hit the product market fit, my revenue is going up in like 3-4 months, and finally I have flooding of VCs reaching out and clients and inbound interest, and then it dies out. It happened to us during COVID when
Okay, so that was during COVID.
So sometimes it's false, but the real true product market fit and this revenue growth 3 times in a row per year was in the past 2-3 years, and this year we should hit 10x revenue. So the real inflection point was last year, but realizing the product market fit was probably about 2-3 years ago.
So everyone talks about product market fit, and for me, it's a little trigger word, because I'm like, okay, but what do you mean by that? How did you get there? Can you tell me a little bit more about, like, what was that action that you feel that? Was there one thing that made a difference? Was it a couple?
I think it's a couple, but to Yuri's point, it's really the maturity of the product. When we saw, okay, there are less glitches and more aha moments and 5-star Google reviews on our service, that's when you realize, okay, people are seeing the value of your product. They're praising it, you get referrals. And then obviously the growth month to month, quarter to quarter in revenue. Then the next would be the margin uplift, especially with AI. It's not just add-on or just a co-pilot, but when you rebuild the whole infrastructure with voice AI and reasoning AI, you could also see the margin uplift, and then you could eliminate a lot of manual work. So that's the key, I think. The real product market fit is the market is ready. Everyone in our space specifically, everyone is scared of AI. And with that fear, they come to us because we're solving this real estate issue with AI.
Okay, thank you. Yuri, my question for you is, as you were scaling, did you have any part of your product that was doing really well or worked well, and as you scaled, it just wasn't doing the same?
So thankfully, I did not experience that, but it's coming, and it's coming in the AI world, right?
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So just because you had a product market fit yesterday, it does not mean that you will have it tomorrow. The AI is changing the landscape so fast that it's just mind-blowing, right? So. I have a great number of board members. I just had a board today, and I asked them this question: how many of you are funding companies that are pure SaaS? 0. Wow. Right. So you have to be an AI-forward company. So with AI-forward company, the product market fit constantly shifting because it's all new. Right. So even ourselves, we spent last week going, with our user group. We have a number of customers in each sector: banking sector, manufacturing, insurance, AI companies, where we pay We pay a lot of money to bring those people for 2 days, where we kind of, trying to understand where it is all shifting, right? And I believe that until AI settles in, the product market shift will be continuously shifting. It is not set and done.
So, what would you advise for those founders that can pay an outside team or group, and in order for them to stay ahead?
It's difficult. You have to get lucky. You have to have people who are willing to, like FPL. Where's the FPL? They're right in front of me. They're willing to help, right? You need to find people who are willing to help. Like, give you an example. I don't have a lot of time, but I had this one young man who came to me and said something that I couldn't say no to. He said, well, when you were my age and what do you mean, nobody helped you? I said, no, so why can't you do that? Right, so now I spend 5 hours a month helping that company, and they are very successful now, right? But from day one, I told them, you have to be an AI company. If you just forget about SaaS, forget about it, you won't get funded. Yes, you get seed money, right? You get seed money, but you won't get A money. You just won't, right? Because the A money doesn't know what will disrupt you. They don't know. It could happen 24 hours after they put the money in the bank. 24 hours, and they're done, right? So look at Lovable. Yeah, they were disrupted by Anthropic right there, right? It was a great multi-billion-dollar business. So that's what I'm saying. You cannot rest. If in this universe, you have to continuously test, right? If you don't have the money, find people who can give you advice. People from the industry that continue to give you advice. Because that, for the next 3-4 years, I'm saying 3-4 years because I have no idea what's going to happen in 5 years. But for the next 40 years, it will continue to evolve.
You're kind of scaring the crowd a little bit here. Just
putting
it out there.
I could add a little bit and expand. I think Kathy Wood is talking about SaaS apocalypses. The SaaS industry is about $300 billion industry. If you take the service market, it's a $16 trillion market industry. And it's not like pure AI like Lovable. If you get into a service business with AI, with a specific vertical, there is so much opportunity. And I was lucky enough, I don't know how and why we got there, but when we decided to work on blockchain, that was 8 years ago, it was too early, but suddenly today we have all those increased interests from all the Miami leading developers for us to process their stablecoin payments and become their title escrow. And then 3 years ago, we became a title and escrow company, bought the first title company, and suddenly last year, we launched this AI-led roll-up strategy without knowing that it's the hottest thing right now in 2026. You've got A16Z, Sequoia talking about services rebuilt by AI. You've got General Catalyst launching a specific fund, creation fund on AI-led roll-up. It's $1.7 billion fund. Jill, 8 VC, all those VCs are now interested in AI-led roll-ups. What it means is that you get a particular vertical. In our case, it's real estate, title, and escrow industry. But you get into property management, HOA, accounting, legal AI. And that's where I feel like there is less risk to adopt the AI technology and really building the real change without being quickly disrupted by general frontier LLMs.
You're absolutely right, Natalia. And what Natalia is saying is that the harness, everybody knows what harness is? Harness is the right, good. So harness is the value. And what Natalia is talking about is exactly that, right? There's no real value in the plain vanilla model. It's the harness, right? It's the teaching, right? That's the value. And if you pick legal, like Natalia's point, is perfect, right? I know many companies in legal that are succeeding greatly because they understand the subject matter and they have trained their application on that subject matter, and that's the key. Yeah.
Okay, so get specific with your AI. Okay, so we're gonna open up to the room for questions. Damn, was it that fast? I was just gonna do one more because I think the whole point of this is to learn a little bit about investing, right? And the question is, how did you know when it was the right time to invest versus continue to build?
Well, the worst case scenario is when you really just need money. You're running out of money, and you're trying to predict it at least 6 months in advance. But as founders, I don't know, Yuri, what's in your experience, but it's like always be raising, always. We always have to build relationships with investors, and when you're ready, when you need the money or you're scaling and you need an extra dollar to get an ROI on this investment, you just have already the network of VCs. But the biggest mistake that I did when I just moved to Silicon Valley, I didn't know anyone. I came to America as a single mom with an idea of Propy. We lived in Palo Alto. I had to rent out rooms in the rest of the houses to keep going. But the biggest mistake I did, and I lost 2 years before I got the check from Tim Draper, was just spreading too thin and pitching to everyone I thought had some money. You always have to think about building the relationship with the right investor, and we have really great investor, the host here, for especially for early stage, for seed and Series A. So it's building the relationship with a focused investor for your stage, for your vertical, for your thesis. But other than that, yeah. Normally it's just when there is a right moment, you have the momentum, you're succeeding, that's where it's the best opportunity to come to the investor meeting with the right energy. But if you just had to raise money, that's, you know, it's not as bad as soon as you have the network.
Nice.
So I agree with Natalia. So there's multiple steps, right? So there's a seed, or somebody told me pre-seed, seed, but I call it seed. Right? So seed capital. When I started even Cast, you know, the major houses didn't really understand what seed is. Now there is a whole industry that only focuses on seed, which is great, right? So that, you know, basically doesn't require a lot except for great idea and build a relationship with the guys, because they're really betting on you, right? Do they really understand what you're saying? You know, about 60%. But the other 40, it's you, right? It's, you know, somebody will say even a reversal. So seed money, get it any way you want. Mom, pop, brother, sister, you know, friends, a family, whatever. However you get it, you get the seed. You need to get started. Then you have to be efficient and build a prototype, right? And getting Series A money is not very difficult, because you're still talking about the future. You're still kind of blowing this beautiful picture, right? You're still there. You have maybe a couple of customers, you know, they give you good attestation. So Series A is not bad. Getting into B, C, D, and so on, it's atrociously difficult. You have to prove. You have to prove. I mean, there's no more. It doesn't matter that I built 7 companies prior Cast. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that I have 7 exits. This one, I still have to prove, right? Because LPs demand, and you know, all of this, you know, who gives check to those guys, they have certain conditions, certain demands. So, but getting back to what Natalia said, you know, when do you raise? If somebody's giving you money, take it. Take it. I'm not sure there's a right time or wrong time. Somebody giving you money, take it, right? So that's my advice to all the founders, right? Don't worry about that 2% that you gave up extra. Don't worry about it. Worry about the top line, right? Where you're going to be. That's my advice. And no matter who I talk to, I made some mistakes in the past. That's why. Talking from the experience, right? So, you know, money drives success. And I can tell you many companies would not be, you know, in their billions if nobody would give them money, right? Only very, very few actually got in there. Few, it's a minority. Majority requires money. Take it.
Okay, so I got the green light for one more question, and then I'm opening it up. So last question for both of you. We're going to make this one short, but what is one belief that you had before scaling that was completely wrong? I like making them think.
So what I learned in my recent years, that as a founder, you have to reinvent yourself every 5 years. And now maybe every 3 years, right? So what you learned before doesn't really line up. So I really thought that I can take my playbook from the previous company and actually apply it to go to market. Was I so wrong? Very wrong, right? It's a different playbook, right? So that is one thing that I realized that doesn't really work. So that's in my case.
Yeah, I'm still struggling how to answer that, but overall, I think I'll go back to the focus, right? I think the most important thing that a tech founder has to do is to risk a lot. We have to take big risks, life decisions in every day-to-day operations in the company, quarterly, annually, adapting to all the market changes. And then the second most important piece is we have to focus. And I did a lot of mistakes when I was not focused, because you're trying to keep all those spinning plates at the same time. And in early stage, you're trying to sell to governments and to as a B2C and to enterprises and this and that. I'm glad I did all that refocused work in the first 2 years of the company. And now, because we've tried it all, I know it's not working, it's easier to just stay focused. And even when we're networking, when I go to an event, I know 3 people, 3 targets. I don't just talk and then go and try to talk to anyone. No, I'm going there for 30, 40 minutes. I have a timer. It's very nice to meet people. Yes, I'll meet 1 or 2 just because it's pleasant to talk to them. But the rest is like, did I hit those 3 people I really wanted to connect with? So on all levels, focus in networking, in product, in strategy. I think that was the biggest realization for me between the seed stage to now later stages.
That's awesome. Thank you. That is wonderful advice from both of you. If you guys have any questions, you can catch them after the panel because we are moving on to the next one.